Hi, AJ.
Hi.
Like, what's your job?
I am the
position?
department head of milling.
Good job. Yes.
Our wood comes from, we have like two main suppliers. We have our domestics and our exotics. Domestics are woods that are native to our region, or at least the US. And they include, for us, maple, cherry, walnut, occasionally oak, and ash. So we get a lot of our wood from Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania. Our exotic lumber we get from all over the world. We have somebody that gathers it all up for us, but my favorite domestic is walnut. It's very easy to work with. I like the features that it has.
Mm-hmm. The characteristics.
Yeah.
Personality of it.
It's nice to work with. And then my favorite exotic is Chichen. It's a Caribbean rosewood or poison wood. And I really just like the color scheme of it. It's kind of got these like nice warm oranges and reds, and then occasionally you get these like spots of green, and it kind of like reminds me of like a peacock's feather kind of thing.
There was a lumber shortage, right? Trees aren't growing fast enough.
I've reached out to Miracle Grow. They haven't gotten back to me. My understanding is a majority of the shortage was building lumber.
Oh, okay.
Pine, some of those domestics. We've had some longer lead times than expected for some of the wood that we get. Purple Heart for a little bit was a little bit hard to come by. Chichen, Red Heart, and
Tamarind is tough.
Tamarind still is.
It's mostly due to the shipping crisis, actually.
Yeah.
So what does 4x4 mean? Because I know it's like a music thing also. Time
Like time signature? Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what it means?
Yeah, it's exactly what it means.
Oh, okay.
It's the cadence that the saw runs to.
4x4.
Yeah, so 4/4 raw lumber is measured in quarter inches. So it's just a lumber industry term to measure how thick the wood is that you are getting in. All of our domestics come in at 4/4, and most of our exotics do. Occasionally it comes in usually about 5/4.
There's a ton more variability in the exotic blends.
Plus, like, we're one of 3 countries that actually use the imperial measurement system. So it's us, Liberia, and Myanmar. So
Nicely
the
done.
big 3.
Good poll.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there like a specific species? Because that's what you call them, right? Like
That is.
species of wood. Boom. That's like better for beginners. Like that's easier to use or like more forgiving.
Well, we typically start off beginners with maple. That's mostly because we have it in abundance, and it is typically less expensive. The domestics do seem to be a little bit more forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Cherry, walnut, very easy, smooth. When training anybody on a saw, usually with those in the mix, there'll be a drastic change in what the wood you're pushing through the saw. You can feel the difference in how smooth it is. That's usually something I bring up when I'm training somebody on the saw with multiple species of wood. Yeah, it's density related, how the fibers run. There's what we refer to as like longer grain. You see a lot more splintering. The fibers are stronger over the length of the wood as opposed to the other way. The density of the wood, that goes in with the weight of the wood and all that, and definitely puts more of a strain on the woodworker as well as the saws.
Can people in the crew like request a specific wood?
We have a super cool stock program that allows anybody, if they have a awesome idea for a stock piece, to be able to set it in motion and push it through from beginning to end. And if anyone wants a specific wood, they have access to all of our woods that we not only carry, but all of the woods that are available to us through our suppliers. So if they see something like spalted tamarind that we don't normally carry, or babinga, or something along those lines, we can definitely order it and allow that as an opportunity, and then also some more stock stuff too.
So who determines, like, while you're milling, who determines like this is a good piece to use, or like gonna pass on this one?
We try to empower our woodworkers to make that choice.
Okay.
And if chosen incorrectly, often it's kind of found out further down the line and we kind of make a learning opportunity about it. But usually we want to avoid knots. Knots tend to either splinter when cut through. We try not to put a knot in the middle of a piece just because it kind of draws your eye away from what we really want to show off. We do see live edge occasionally coming through, and we have a little section in the shop where we save that kind of stuff, and we have an opportunity to take it and turn some cool things into. We had a live edge rolling tray. We've had live edge screens come through with live edge accessories, the whole
I know there was
gambit.
like a pencil that had like a live edge.
Yeah, we had and that was kind of, that was actually really cool. It had like live edge, but it was in between where a branch would be coming off. So you had this bark and live edge that was in a crease, and then we were able to kind of turn that into it. Had a cool little touch to it.
So what happens with the scrap wood that like isn't good enough, other than, you know, like you can make your own kind of project out of it? Like, is there anything else that you guys do with it?
Well,
Big bonfire?
Yeah, probably. We try to keep utilize as much of the wood as possible. We don't want to waste anything. But occasionally that does happen, and when it does happen, we put it to good use.
Yeah.
Now we have some pretty small products, so we can kind of work our way down from a Valhalla screen to a pencil.
Yeah. Is there like a certain number of products for like stock pieces that you guys have to make every week?
We try to make 5 stock screens a day, or at least push them through the process. And on my end, that ends up becoming a more of a batching system, just for the sake of time and labor. And we'll push through, them in waves, and then as they hit certain markers in the production process is when they kind of get split up into 5s.
Yeah.
We, however, have been able to push through a significant more, as well as other products, Kickstarters, all of the accessories, all of the smaller products, anything that's an exclusive release.
And that's just stock until you guys get
that's just stock.
Orders,
We take our retail orders are prioritized over all of that, and we take care of them. We've been milling them weekly for like a year now, I think. So the moment you put in an order, that Tuesday comes into my hands, and it's a product by that Friday, and we push it along. There are occasionally some products that are custom orders that tend to take a little bit more time. We just really want to make sure that the customer has the expectation of what they want, and we've communicated that efficiently.
So when you're like choosing lumber to process through and push through for the week, do you try to get like a bit of everything for stock pieces?
Right now we are pushing on our maple.
Yeah.
It is the lightest wood that not only we have in the shop, but it's one of the lighter woods that you can find. So it creates a really nice canvas for all of the artistic introductions down the line, whether they be engravings or stainings, CNC, all of that. So it really kind of creates a nice canvas for us. There are probably 3 pieces that are exotic or allow our staff to have some creativity with glue ups, combinations of wood. Really kind of lets them show their creative side, not just on the staining or engraving aspects, but kind of building.
So how do, like, other than maple, like how do the other woods show the stain?
It's interesting. They all have their own characteristics, and they all take stain differently. Depending on the wood, they may take certain colors a little bit differently. I know cherry takes warmer colors. I mean, it is kind of that salmony kind of color hue. And definitely takes warmer colors than it does cooler colors. And usually when you do add cooler colors, you can kind of try to dilute them or drop some of the value out of it and kind of play with the contrasting aspects of it. Some of the darker woods, walnut, wenge, they don't take stain particularly well, but we have some stains that are opaque, and we can utilize those in that situation.
Has anyone, like a retail client, has anyone offered to like supply their own wood?
We've had a number of individuals have either special pieces of wood, purchased wood that they have found that has the figuring that they want. Some wood has come to us that has sentimental value. Somebody's piece of their dock from their cottage, or a piece of barn, or something along those lines. And
Stake that they use to kill a vampire.
Yeah. Mostly those are, we come in, we don't stain those. Those come in pre-stained, but.
You're a dogmight safety officer as well.
Sure.
So for a new woodworker out there, what are kind of the keys to safety in the milling department?
I don't want a new person to cut themselves. And it sounds obvious and frank, but we really take every step to make sure that is a minimized risk. Does it happen? Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but we've put in a number of policies, procedures in place. Whenever I typically walk everyone through the shop and show them the dangers of each of the machines and how to use the machine and how, like, the things you don't want to do. If I am training, and all of the trainers have this kind of mindset as well, a lot of the things that they're watching for specifically on the saws is that any action towards the blade is a no-go. Whether your thumb is reaching over a piece of wood to grab the piece of wood itself, like a pincher, those are actions that I try to point out so that the user understands that, yes, this time your hand was a foot away from the blade, but still that action is a habit that you want to break, because next time it might not be so far away.
You have all your fingers?
I have all my fingers and my toes.
Do you cut often with your toes?
Only at home. You guys don't let me go barefoot in the shop, so.
So how much like basic lumber does someone need to have coming into the shop?
Basic lumber? They don't have to bring their own.
No? Okay.
No. Basic knowledge.
The knowledge. The lumber knowledge.
A lot of the woodworking knowledge is not necessary.
Okay.
We really pride ourselves on hiring for that 51%. That is your personality, what you can bring to the table, your energy. Part of the culture is much more important than the technical aspects. We can teach the technical aspects. That is all something that can be taught. It's much harder to teach somebody to be, accepting and fun and motivated than it is to push a piece of wood through a saw safely. Yeah, I would say the Valhalla screen is easily the most popular. It's what we make the most of. It is the most customizable. It is the it's the thing, that iconic piece that everybody wants on their table. Everything else is a supplement to that, and allows gaming to be not just organized but fun and creative, and have your own touch to it. To be able to have your GM screen match all of your players' player pads, so that, and then they match their characters, and then it's really the entire suite is kind of centered around the GM screen, and it just has this presence. And then there's all of the accessories that are available on it, the customizable options, the enormous selection of options that we offer if you don't want to make up your own thing.
Three of your hobbies are woodworking, playing D&D, and curing your own meats.
Yeah.
What's the commonality between those three things?
Oh man. I was gonna say all of them take time. I think that they're technical things that don't necessarily have hard and fast rules. And I think I really enjoy learning any and all hobbies, and I get interested in them. They each have their own rabbit hole that you can easily dive down into. But that is only if you want to take that dive. You can easily enter any of these surface level, and specifically if you have a mentor in any of them to be able to show you the ropes. I think that, weirdly they have a lot more in common now that I've actually thought about it than you would have originally thought.
All right, cool. Thank you, AJ.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Keep it real. Say bye-bye to everybody.
Bye-bye.
Perfect.
So, Cameron was in the shop earlier today, and I didn't recognize him because he wore a hat for like the first time ever.
Yeah.
And normally when he's in the shop, he's walking around with just a tank top, and he was like fully clothed today, so it kind of threw me off.
It's a nice change.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, he's
he's
reverted since then, so
a dress
we're back
up
to
day
normal
for
now.
him. So.
Yeah, it was like a good 30 minutes where he had all his clothes on.
What's with the haircut?
Which one?
His haircut.
Whose?
Cameron's.
Maybe that's why he's wearing a hat.
Gosh.
I know he was like his
A
crispy mohawk.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's a lot of gel.
yeah, I mean, for working in a wood shop too.
Flammable.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Dude, in Conus?
Yeah. I think he comes around to the finishing department and so he's like he used to be an art teacher.
Yes.
Like a professor, not just a teacher. But he like go look over a product and just doesn't say anything. He might hum and ooh, ah.
Yeah.
Kind of walk by it, but it's not. I think he just does it just to mess with us.
It's always the hovering.
Yeah, I don't think he does it every hour
Yeah.
too. And it's almost on the hour, so he's like, oh, I gotta go mess with everybody that's instating.
Gotta go bother him.
Yeah.
It makes it look like he's working.
Yeah, that's the big aspect, is
So.
kind of showing that you are actually working, and then he hides himself in the office for the rest of the day. So.
Yeah.